Walt Disney Company is currently panicking after a single X post by woke brat Rachel Zegler. Now, I've covered this before. I covered it last week, but I guess things are starting to bubble up inside of Disney, and people are extraordinarily angry at now seemingly the internal battle between Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler on the $500 million film that is now set to almost certainly lose money. You can see these two new articles came out today. Inside the Snow White cast drama, as Rachel Zegler locks horns with Gal Gadot, a Disney remake, who will be crowned the fairest of them all. And then you see this. Snow White star Rachel Zegler derails remake's ad campaign with another woke outburst after branding experts warned her that her antics will trigger a boycott. That on top of, you can see over the last month, Disney stock is down 5%. Over the last 6 months, it's down nearly 20%. Things are very, very poor. Things are very, very poor for Disney from the earnings perspective, from the execution perspective, from the every movie they've put out has been a complete disaster outside of Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine, because that's going to make like 1.2 billion. It's going to be a massive success. And what I noticed wasn't in it is a bunch of feminist whinging, just a lot of kicking butt. But now, Snow White star Rachel Zegler derails remake's ad campaign with another woke outburst after branding experts warned her not to do it. Snow White remake star Rachel Zegler, the 23-year-old, has repeatedly sparked anger with her woke views, waded into the Israel-Palestine conflict again on X while promoting her blockbuster movie, despite branding experts warning her that such antics could trigger a boycott. The New Jersey native took to X back last week with, of course, her famous Free Palestine thing. But here's the thing. The $330 million Disney movie, directed by Mark Webb, was scheduled to be released in March 2024, but got delayed after executives had to have crisis talks in order to do some serious damage limitation following the negative response to Zegler's stances. So this is a new interesting point. So Disney had to do crisis talks because of Rachel Zegler. I know that a lot of people are kind of black-pilled about whether or not people will see any consequences or anything like that for their actions. Well, I can tell you this much. I don't think you're going to see Rachel Zegler in another big budget film. I just don't. Maybe if there's another Hunger Games coming out that she's still tied into. I don't know what happened to her character in that movie because I don't care about the Hunger Games movies. And I don't pay to see movies with people who hate me in them. But ultimately, this is a $330 million budgeted movie. It's far more than that after all these CGI refilming and stuff like that. Somewhere near 400 to 500 million in cost after marketing. That means the Snow White remake must make $1 billion just to break even. The reason Rachel Zegler doesn't care is she got paid. She's getting paid anyway. I don't think that, this is going to hurt her financially one way or the other. Down the road, maybe. Maybe a cast of diverse dwarfs have also since been replaced by CGI alternatives, which more closely resemble the little people featured in the original movie. The actress who vowed to ensure the remake was more progressive and woke than the original previously faced backlash after several videos of her speaking negatively about the original film in various interviews in 2022 surfaced online. Speaking of her character, Zegler said she's not going to be saved by some prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. As well as being labeled a fake feminist, some critics accuse her of gaslighting, while marketing consultants warned her that they need to be careful with how they've portrayed Snow White. Speaking to the Daily Mail, brand expert Carlos Spite said, whilst it's been clear that the original Disney princess films hold old values, Disney has fallen for the trap of going to the opposite extreme to inflict strong and loaded messaging on the viewers, believing that that's somehow empowerment. There was a time when Disney actors were media trained and were thought about the impact of their words while sticking to key messaging about the films. But it seems with the total rewrite of Snow White, picturing her as a girl boss has gone to the head of the stars. Disney needs to be careful with how they have portrayed Snow White and what they do and do not allow the actors to say going forward. They simply cannot repeat the same mistakes and allow their actors to be vocal on their own personal opinions during promotions. Well, we know that she did do that. PR expert Nick Ed agreed, telling Daily Mail they instead of embracing her role as one of the most famed fairy tale characters, Zegler has actively chose to spoil the narrative. Speaking at Disney Expo D23 in California in December, Zegler was best known for a breakout role in West Side Story. That movie also lost $150 million, by the way. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy that literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time. I mean, that's just a tiny part of it. In yet another high-profile interview about the film, Zegler defended the film's newly forced progressive bent. People are making these jokes about ours being the PC Snow White. Yeah, that's because it needed it. It did? I don't think so. I don't think they needed to redo it. I don't think there's anybody clamoring for Snow White to get woke. I don't think there was. Our version is a refreshing story about a young woman who has a function beyond someday my prince will come. The Colombian-American actress faced some degree of scrutiny by critics after she was cast as Snow White, who has always been described as having skin as white as snow. In a sense deleted tweet, she wrote, "Yes, I'm Snow White. No, I'm not bleaching my skin for the role." Other than Zegler's contentious statements, the Seven Dwarves caused their own backlash, which I don't care about. I'm still boycotting this film because it's woke trash. You know, like, I don't have any interest in this film because it's woke garbage. Now, inside the Snow White cast drama, the on-screen feud appears to have spilled out into real life, however, owing the pair's opposing views on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Both have been vocal in their support for the opposite sides, with branding expert warning that such behavior is going to trigger a boycott. It came to a head when Snow White teased the trailer she revealed earlier this month, with many taking issue with her casting. Some were baffled by the decision to cast a Latina to portray the famous fair-skinned character. Why? Nobody's surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that. Nobody's surprised by that at all. Others took issue with casting a Jew during the current war, with pro-Palestinian viewers claiming that her inclusion calls for a boycott, while conversely, pro-Israel viewers claimed it was offensive to cast her in an evil role. I mean, the whole thing is just amazing. Now you have this war of the two going back and forth. You have Rachel Zegler saying, "And always remember, free Palestine." Okay. Then Gal Gadot did not publicly respond to Zegler's comments. She did raise eyebrows with a post of her own after the trailer was released, posting about love driving out hate. So she used a Martin Luther King quote to counter, obviously, Rachel Zegler. You're pretty sure the Snow White press tour is going to get even more awkward than it, quote, ends with us drama, considering the tweet that whoever runs Gal Gadot's account retweeted and then quickly unretweeted. It said, "Trying to campaign on the head of your co-star who actually lived through a war just so you look cooler with the kids is really pathetic." Oops. So now, whoever runs Gal Gadot's account, maybe it was Gal Gadot herself calling out, like, hey, trying to campaign on the head of your co-star who actually lives through war. So Gal Gadot saying, like, I've actually been there. And you're just some stupid kid who doesn't know anything about it. So I wonder why she quickly unretweeted that. Of course, as well as being labeled a fake feminist, Critics accused her of gaslighting, while a marketing consultant warned that Disney would need to be careful with how they portrayed Snow White. Yeah, I mean, I think this movie is going to be an unmitigated disaster. Other than Zegler's contentious statements, the Seven Dwarfs also caused their own backlash. Again, I don't think that's going to cause any problems. You know, maybe the dwarf community will boycott this film for their own reasons. But I mean, just think about the number of people that are not interested in this film because Disney wanted to make a political statement. One, anybody who remembered that Snow White's skin is as white as snow, which is most people saying, I'm not interested in giving you my money. That's me, and that's many people. That's the largest group of people. Then you have Rachel Zegler actually making people, pissing people off, fans of the original, hardcore Disney fans, by disparaging the original film. Then you have all the people that hate Israel right now, hating on Gal Gadot. They don't want to see the film. And all the pro-Israel people who hate the pro-Palestine people, they're boycotting it. Oh, and the dwarves too. So that's what, 5 different groups of people that are protesting it. They had crisis meetings about this. I mean, this movie is going to be a disaster. An absolute unmitigated disaster. There's nothing they can do to reverse the damage that's been done by Rachel Zegler. She is a brand destroyer. And I hope that people learn their lessons. They probably won't. I don't think she's ever going to get hired in another Disney movie, though. I have a suspicion that Disney's getting a little tired of all these people, hiring all these woke idiots who then torpedo their movies. Don't think any statements were made by Ryan Reynolds or any statements were made by Hugh Jackman before Deadpool and Wolverine made $1.2 billion. You know? Just a thought, maybe just shut up and make your money. But what do I know? I'm not some Nepo baby who grew up a millionaire and now makes many millions more and who's never struggled for anything in their life. I wouldn't know. What a disaster.